Well, the Australian market's been one of the strongest performers in the region today, and for the highlights I spoke earlier to Charlie Aitken at Bell Potter. Well, Charlie Aitken, the Greek Parliament did vote for those austerity measures, and that seems to have created quite a boost for both the region and our market.
Yeah, Tiki, I think the market was nervous this wasn't going to happen, but the approval has gone through from the Greek Parliament. I suppose that traders think that, that means the Greece default problem goes away, which it does for a little while, but you've got to remember that there's full Greek elections in April, so I don't think we've heard the end of this. But markets liked it, market up about 1% here, and the regional markets also closing up about 1%, so the hopes are that Wall Street will do that too.
And a strong day for the banks led by ANZ. Is that all to do with those job cuts, do you think?
Well, it's funny that a company that cuts 1,000 jobs, the share price goes up 1.5%. Look, I think it's more in reaction to the out-of-cycle rate rises the banks are putting through. Obviously, analysts think that's good for bank margins, which is a pretty short-term way of looking at it. I think, look, the banks were just up on a broader market rally. I think that these job cuts actually are starting to affect sentiment towards the retail sector. So you can see that just about every announcement that comes out of a large Australian corporate is about job cutting at the moment. So it's just something we need to be cautious about.
So what you're saying is that it's almost because the retailers were down rather than the banks were up?
A little bit like that. I mean, the retailers did struggle again today. I mean, obviously JB Hi-Fi put out a result and, wasn't very upbeat, just confirming the obvious. I mean, every retailer that speaks now tells you how tough it is, and that's actually right. So I just wonder a bit, Tiki, if these job cuts that are coming through across the economy, or at least the East Coast economy, are actually starting to affect genuine retail sales.
What do you make of the JB Hi-Fi result?
Well, remember this one had been guided lower. That had a big profit warning, I think about a month ago, and the stock had fallen a lot and analyst forecasts had fallen a lot. The result came in at the lowered guidance and the outlook was still pretty sanguine. The problem JB Hi-Fi have got is really price deflation in electronics goods. The Aussie dollar's up at 108 or close enough to 108 today, and prices of imported electronics continue to fall. So I think with JB Hi-Fi, the market will like to see some improvement before it moves the shares up. So you might have to wait there a little while.
And now I see Singtel Optus has published its quarterly profit figures. How did they look against Telstra's numbers? Because Telstra had quite a result, didn't they?
Certainly did, and I think, look, it was interesting today that people really only look at the Singtel share price or results for what Optus has done in Australia. I mean, the Optus numbers were respectable, but Singtel at the headline level reported that they'd spent, that their revenue was up 3%, but their net profit was down 10% because of customer acquisition costs. But when you split out the net gains in Australia, I think for the half, Telstra had about 900,000 net adds in terms of subscribers in the half. Optus around 300,000, and Vodafone appear to have lost 100,000. So both Optus and Telstra are benefiting from Vodafone's problems, and both Telstra and Singtel shares are up a similar amount today.
Charlie Aitken, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Tiki.